Hello, I'm Rob Phillips, and welcome to my channel, where I teach you how to live a more balanced and present life through yoga and meditation. Today we're going to be doing a 45-minute Yin Yoga sequence that's going to be structured around the deeper theme of complete surrender. So by complete surrender, essentially what I mean is allowing oneself to let go completely into this moment, to let go of control within the mind, to let go of control within our body, really deeply surrendering to the experience as it already is right now. Now, in terms of props for today, I'm going to recommend having a blanket. And as always, if you enjoy these videos, please consider giving it a like, and please consider subscribing to my channel if you want to see more yoga practices like this each week. For now, we're going to begin lying down flat on our back. So as you find your way onto your back here, I'm going to essentially recommend starting in Shavasana, so you can spread out wide onto the floor. And I will say, if you feel like you need a little bit of extra proppage, a little bit of extra support for this, feel free to use your blanket, feel free to use whatever you have to make sure you can be comfortable here for the next few minutes. And once you're in this basic position, we can now close our eyes. And with our eyes closed, allowing the body to relax, allowing for the mind and the attention to really land and settle right here. And just getting this first initial taste of this deep surrender that we'll be exploring. Really letting ourselves give way into the support of the floor beneath us, little by little. And so you may notice any points of physical tension, any gripping that you're holding on to, and if you do notice anything like that, perhaps seeing if you could let it go, let it release little by little. Knowing that the physical space we make in the body will make it so much easier to find a corresponding sense of space within our mind. And yet, the paradox of this sort of work is we don't want to make the task of letting go kind of its own layer of control. Deep surrender, like we're exploring here today, involves letting go of really any sense of manipulation, letting go of trying to micromanage things and trying to kind of corral them into being exactly as we would like them. And instead, really getting this taste of simply being right here where we already are. And so for just another minute or so here on our back, what's it like to simply just be here? What's it like to let go of even the subtle sense of control? Again, complete surrender is all about being at ease within the experience as it already is here. So maybe feeling that here for just a few more breaths, just a few more moments. Let's take a deep inhale breath through our nose. Long exhale breath out our mouth. We'll be remaining on our back for a little while, so feel free to open your eyes, or feel free to keep them closed. It's really up to you. Let's walk the feet in now so that our knees are bent, and we'll cross our left ankle over the right knee, essentially making figure four, sometimes called reclined pigeon pose. So from here, depending on how this feels, you may consider just staying here like this. Maybe this is enough edge for your body. Or if you want to dial this up a little bit, and forgive me setting my timer up here, if you want to dial this up just a little bit, you could also consider hugging the right thigh in towards the chest. And so as we begin our physical sequence, just kind of a little disclaimer. So I'm going to be talking about this idea of letting go. I'm going to be talking about this idea of surrender and kind of being with things. That's true in general here, but we want to be really conscious that we don't surrender through anything that may be harming the body. So in each of these poses, we want to feel just a light to moderate level of sensation. We want to know that we're affecting the tissues, but we never want to feel like we're moving into that extreme territory where harm might happen. And if you're newer to this sort of practice, or if you're just not sure, remember it's always better to do this sort of work too gently than it is to do this work too aggressively. So you can always leave the pose early, you can always back out, you can even skip a pose if it's not your cup of tea. Respect the body and it will respect you. You can find that healthy relationship with it. With that said, in this practice, we can work with the tissues, we can work with some level of sensation, but we do so very patiently. We do so very gradually. Little by little, we relax. Little by little, we let go. Little by little, we surrender into this experience and let go of the need to control it. Let go of the need to manipulate it and make it otherwise. So, can you do just that here for a few more moments, a few more slow breaths? Deeply surrendering into the experience of simply being in this pose. Take a final gentle inhale breath as you are. On your exhale breath, lower the right foot down and remain in this figure four setup. From here, we're going to dovetail this into a twisting variation. So keeping your legs crossed, slowly roll the legs over to the right. And I always say when I teach this, because every once in a while I'll find a student that this is just like really too much for their body. So if this particular twist is too much, just uncross the legs and do something similar that's more comfortable. If it's feeling okay, you can fine tune it for your body. You can micro adjust the angle of that left leg. You can place the hands where you like my right hand's on the belly, but it certainly doesn't have to be. Left arm higher or lower. Again, take your time on the way into the pose so that once you're there, you really can settle. You really can deeply relax and let go into it. And so again, we'll feel some effect on the body. We're working with the tissues in particular ways here. But never any strong or sharp sensation. Here, we want to be particularly conscious that we don't feel anything in the knee. But then once we've set up those right conditions, can we completely surrender into this? letting go of physical effort within our body, letting go of any sense of tightness or constriction within our minds. Finding that sense of deep surrender into our experience, just as it is. What's it like to let go of even the most subtle level of control of things? What's it like to truly rest in stillness and calm? And even if you don't feel like you're anywhere near that point quite yet, no problem. Just start where you're at. Let go of what you can in this moment, so that little by little we work towards that place of complete surrender. Take final complete breath right here, and slowly draw the legs back into the center and slowly unravel your cross. I might invite a bit of movement here for a few seconds, and once you've worked that out, let's rest in neutral. I'm going to rest with my feet wide and knees falling in. That's a great way to do this. If that's not comfortable, you could come back to Shavasana, or like everything we do here, whatever's working well for you is totally fine. But giving the body just about a minute or so to integrate the effects of those first few poses. And again, really appreciating, really experiencing this moment of simply just being here. And feel that for just a few more slow breaths. Here now, whenever you're ready for it, we'll set up the second half so you can walk the feet in towards hips distance with legs bent. Cross the right ankle on top this time. And again, for some bodies, this will be enough. There's no need to go further than this if this isn't, working well for you at this point. If you do want to go a little bit deeper, consider drawing the left thigh in, giving that little bit of a squeeze. And I should mention, squeeze is kind of relative. We're not pulling on that leg with any great amount of force. You're just kind of setting up the arms here and then relaxing and letting the pose do its own work. Here now, as we settle, feel the belly soften, the shoulders soften. Finding just enough intentionality to let the pose happen. But then deeply surrendering, deeply letting go of all the rest. What are you holding on to in this moment that's not necessary? Within the body, within the mind, what's it like to just be here as you are? More and more getting glimpses of that experience, really kind of working towards that place of full and complete surrender. And take a final gentle inhale breath right here. Slowly, as you exhale, lower the left foot down, but again, keeping the legs crossed in this figure four shape. From here, we're going to turn this into the twisting variation. So you can find a gentle inhale breath where you are. As you exhale, roll the legs over to the left. And again, if this does not feel right for your body, any similar twist is fine. If this is feeling okay, if it's feeling reasonable and sustainable, again, you can micro adjust the placement of things. Generally, you'll want to mirror how you did it on the first side, but it doesn't need to be identical. You want to kind of work with the body as it is. And then here, really almost no effort required to be in this pose. So let yourself completely settle. Let yourself release and unwind. Can you truly surrender any sense of control, any sense of tightness or striving? And instead, let yourself experience this moment of being right as you are. What isn't necessary in this moment within your mind? What isn't necessary in this moment within your body? Can you let go of all those extra layers? Truly let them fall away here. So that you're just settling right here as you already are. And take a final complete breath right here. Slowly wind your way into the center. Slowly uncross the legs and maybe move, maybe release just a little bit for a few moments. And from here, I'm going to again recommend just resting if it's comfortable with the feet wide, knees falling in. But again, if there's any different position that feels more comfortable for your body, I welcome and encourage that. But really let yourself settle here for a nice minute or so. On your back in this neutral shape, giving the body just a bit of time to integrate what we've just done. Embracing this opportunity to really just tune in, to kind of check in, even where the practice has taken us so far. Feeling that for just a few more moments, just a few more slow breaths. Take a deep inhale breath through our nose. Long exhale breath out our mouth. From here, after being on our back for a while, we will be getting up. So start to move a little bit, start to shift the legs a little side to side if you would like. And then let that momentum help you find your way onto your side, where you can then press your way back up right here. So we will be doing a few seated poses, and generally I recommend sitting on a blanket. You could use a pillow too. And it's not explicitly required, but I just find most bodies will benefit both from the cushion as well as the extra height this will give beneath the hips. So once you've got your basic setup happening here, you can relax the legs, let them shake out a bit. And we're going to keep our left leg as nice and straight as we draw the sole of the right foot onto the inner line of the thigh. Right foot doesn't need to be particularly close or far. Listen to how this feels. And if you need more reinforcement, maybe parking a block or some other prop under that right knee is a good idea. But once you've got your basic pose in place, we can inhale for some length and exhale to come forwards. Literally any amount here. As we approach these forward folds, remembering there's no intention to get deeper. Again, we're trying to surrender that certain sense of control of all this. So set up and align your body such that it feels spacious here, that it feels open and vibrant. But then perhaps invite a greater sense of stillness. Allow yourself to truly surrender into the pose in this moment. What are you holding on to that's not needed within the body? What are you holding on to that's not needed within your mind here? What's it like to just surrender and let yourself be in this experience? little by little, working towards that place of complete ease, of complete surrender. And take a final complete breath right here. Slowly inhale and roll up. And allow for the shoulders to relax and check out that left leg if you would like. Extend the right leg, and we'll do second side in a minute here, but first just a little pause. You can kind of rest here, neutral pose for a few breaths. Just being here with no expectations, again, not needing it to be anything different than what it naturally is right now. Let's keep our right leg straight here and drawing the sole of the left foot inside. Again, using props if you need. Make sure there's no significant sensation happening in that left knee as we set up. And then with this all in place, you can find your inhale breath for some length. Exhale to come forwards just to that light edge again. It's kind of like the threshold of sensation, we might say. You may allow for the spine to round, but if you feel more comfortable with a little length in the spine, that's welcome too. Again, listen to your body. There's no definite prescription for these poses, at least as I teach it. Use your intuition, listen to the feedback the body gives you, and that will take you so much of the way towards where we might need to get with all this. Again, the paradox is we want to have enough control to keep the body safe, to work in kind of a skillful way. But then we also want to practice the capacity to let go of all of that. To surrender the need to control, to surrender the desire for things to be different. Really exploring the practice of simply being in this moment. This type of deep surrender that I've themed today's class around. Just a few more moments, just a few more slow breaths right here. Take your final complete breath right here. Slowly, as you inhale, start to find your way up. And as always, once you're up, again, we could move a bit if we would like. Let's definitely extend that left leg and release. And we're going to shift into a more neutral pose in a moment, but just kind of linger here for a few seconds. Feel the body kind of integrate in this more upright position. From here, let's shift and find our way forwards onto our belly. So, shouldn't need the blanket, although sometimes folks I find need or could benefit from just a little bit of extra support under the hips. So if that's you, of course, feel free to set that up for you. And just keeping in mind, I usually let my head hover a few inches up so that I don't get too boomy on my mic. But for you at home, I'm going to recommend resting your forehead all the way down. Make sure you're completely relaxed here. Make sure you're very much in a neutral shape for these next few breaths. And again, just be there for that. Connect with that. Here on our belly, we're going to set ourselves up into a Sphynx pose. So you're going to rise up onto the elbows, onto the forearms, and the intention here is to create a moderate compression in the lower back. Now, of course, compression in the lower back is kind of a taboo, right? So remember to listen to the level of sensation. You want to feel a bit of mild compression, a bit of action happening there, but as with everything, and maybe especially here, if the sensation gets sharp, if it gets intense, you want to listen to that. You're going to want to back out or adjust. Remembering as well that there's infinite ways to place where the arms end up. They don't need to look like mine. They could be wider, closer, farther. Lots of ways to finesse this. If you have a yoga block available, you could even rest your forehead on it. If you have some other preferred variation that you'd like to try, of course you could do that too. All of those options aside here, find a pose that suits you and then allow yourself to be there. Allow the body to land. Allow the sense of control to really fall away here. Again, can we deeply surrender into this experience? Can we give ourselves this opportunity to just be here without it needing to be anything else? Maybe by now that we're well along into today's class, you're starting to get more and more of a sense of that. Starting to feel more and more natural. What can you still let go of in our final few breaths? in our final few moments here. Take a final gentle inhale breath right here where you are. And slowly, as you exhale, lower all the way down to the floor, and you can rest again on the forehead or rest on your cheek if that's more comfortable. But feel that release in the lower back. Maybe take a few deeper breaths into it, always encouraging that movement of energy. Getting that sense of truly landing just right here. From here, we're going to make our way onto our back, and I generally just kind of flip myself over in place. If you wanted to like realign yourself, you definitely could, but making your way onto your back and just start out a few seconds to kind of get situated here, land here. Next pose is going to be a bit of a counter pose for where we just were, and also kind of a longer held pose in and of itself. So take your time as you get in. Let's start first just kind of hugging the knees into like a cannonball shape, and really nice and gentle with this. No need to squeeze hard. Just kind of rest the arms on the legs. Let things naturally lengthen in the lower back. Taking this more in the direction that we'll hold, though, we can start to separate the knees, working into what we call stirrup pose. You probably know it more likely as happy baby pose from other styles of yoga. So you can stick with either holding on to just the knees. You could also hold on to the feet, inside or out, doesn't really matter. Just make sure if you go that route that you really are comfortable in the pose. You could always go back to just holding on to the knees. And another case where you want to find just enough activation of the hands to keep the feet held, to keep holding onto them. But make sure that you're not straining, make sure that you're not gripping. Still that very easy intention behind all of this. As we enter the final phase of today's class, can we completely surrender? Can we completely let go of everything extra that's not serving us right now? Can you let yourself truly just be right here? Can you truly surrender into this experience? Take your final complete breath right here. Carefully release the legs, maybe feet on the floor for a few moments, just our last little chance to move and to release things a little bit. And once you've worked out any movements to your content here, we're going to extend the legs onto the floor and ending essentially as we started in Shavasana. This time around, if you wanted to say, put your blanket on your hips, if you wanted to use additional proppage to help you feel comfortable, I would welcome and encourage that, of course. But with your eyes closed here, just appreciating this opportunity to surrender on an even deeper level. Maybe appreciating how all of the practice today helped prepare us for this moment, where we can just deeply let go. So taking just a few minutes to really experience this place of complete surrender. So one last time, let's gently inhale through our nose. As you exhale out your mouth, let everything go and just be at ease here for these last few minutes. So on your back, allowing for a certain sense of awareness to return back into the body and the breath. Allowing for a certain sense of intentionality to return as we prepare to end today's class. So as breath deepens, you can start to find some small movements, and little by little, let those movements help you find your way onto your side, up into a comfortable seat where you can then close your eyes. So with your eyes closed, just one last moment together here to feel that sense of ease, to feel that sense of stillness that we cultivated through all of our work today. And join the hands in front of the heart. So my deep thanks to each of you as always for sharing your practice today. And may our practice bring benefit to all beings. And we bow. So thank you so very much for joining me for practice today. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a like. If you have thoughts, questions, or observations, you can definitely let me know down below. And if you want to enjoy more yoga practices like this each week, please consider following my channel.